All right. Good everyone. This is Rangadad, not financial advice, just the way I'm looking at the market. Um, Pretty fiery day last night in the US. Um, Managed to get out of it with a bit of a win, but it's left us at a very interesting spot. Now, smart money's still quite bullish on this. They did drop slightly, I think, yesterday. Yeah, so slight drop in smart money, a little bit of an increase in dumb money. So coming off a higher low here, I kind of actually think this looks reasonably bullish still. This could have been just a shakeout because we knew tariffs were coming. I actually think they were less than what most people thought. I guess the across the board tariffs is an interesting part of it, but I still, we didn't see any massive sell at the high here on iBet. I haven't seen any real buy in here either, though. So it's kind of a little bit of a. I think this is still an accumulation area, and I don't think we'll get down too far. Might have been some profit taking here, but in general, it's not like it actually looks like it's finding a base at the moment. Don't get me wrong, it's borderline. It could jump any moment, it could drop any moment. Coinbase, same sort of deal, came into that key area. Lots of trades going through that zone. So it's basically sitting on support at the moment. The 2x long fund hasn't really got any interest yet. That could tell us that maybe things will get a little bit worse before they get better. Mara did get a bit of a take profit by the look of that one. But again, back into this accumulation zone. XLP dropped pretty hard, especially after the event. Most things did. Financial sector. Now, this is probably one of the more concerning ones. So it has had some decent trades on that at the highs. And it did not have any once it hit the bottom. So this to me suggests we may actually keep going further down. What was that supposed to be? XLE. Just look at XLY. Again, yeah, possibly some profit taking, but pretty hard drop there too. XLE, so energy, pretty hard drop. This is probably profit taking. Need to go into higher time frames to really get a better feel for that. Let's see. XME is still kind of just going sideways. Nothing huge. I think it has dropped back into this area here. So this could be just a liquidity grab. Energy sector kind of does look like it might pull back. So it's not great. Yeah, XLK pulled back hard too. So tech sector, it's not liking the tariff idea. Potentially the way it's been rolled out. That's a little concerning. So XLV got hit as well. Everything's been hit. So I don't use that anymore. When you look at it and you zoom out, Bitcoin's really just in this range still. And this could be an accumulation range. Didn't really break any new highs, didn't break any new lows. It literally just stayed in that range it was already in. There is a bit of CBD futures and spot is kind of holding the bottom here. It hasn't really broken lower than that. So that is a good sign there. I do think that we are still just basing. There's still a potential to drop though. That's the thing. Like it depends whether it's going to be macro driven or just liquidity driven. So I'm not going to use model 3. Use model 1. Go to the weekly. So you'll see on the daily it grabbed a lot of liquidity in that spike. I did have longs running most of the day, and I had a head short on. I ended up managing to close both of them in decent profit. The short, I wish I had held it, but I had to go to sleep. I think I had to sleep just, I don't know, it was as we were coming up here. So yeah, I had to take profit set and a stop loss on, yeah, I had to take profit and a stop loss on the long, and I just had to take profit on the short. But yeah, the take profit on the short, I didn't know how far it was going to come back. I just wanted to flatten the positions, and it made money, but nowhere near as much as I would have if I had to let it go. But that's all right. I'd rather not trade while I'm asleep. So if we zoom out, again, there's still a fair chunk of liquidity there. I kind of, like, we don't have to take it. It can be taken at any stage in the future. There really isn't a lot of liquidity to the upside still, so it's kind of fairly balanced. If you're going to have a target to the upside, that would be the first target. I'd get really concerned above 89. I just don't think we've got 100k left in us in this run. It's really going to be up to the market though. If we do base here and it goes on a decent run, then yeah, it could go up. I'm just not seeing the liquidity there at the moment. So that's kind of my general feel for those. Looking at Sol is interesting. It came down value area low, tagged, and basically, like, it's a rejection off that point of control there, that big volume node. It's just a matter of where's it going to stop from there. There is some unclaimed vectors down pretty close by, down to that 100 level. It wouldn't surprise me if we got to that. Momentum's to the downside. BBWP is expanding. I actually think this will go down before it goes up, just based on what I'm seeing there. Quick look at Litecoin as well. It's actually making a new low on this low here. Still recovering this wick. I'd expect Litecoin to probably swipe that as well. Potentially Litecoin down into 75 or lower, 72. There's another target down around 65 though. So, like, it looks like we're in a bear market. The total versus stable coins, basically there was another try of this horizontal line and it failed that. We bounce reasonably early. The volume transacted in here was pretty decent. I do expect it to at least recover this vector at some stage. I don't know whether it'll be soon though. Be interesting to see what happens when it hits this this diagonal support line here, or the trend line, which has become support recently. And at the same time, we've obviously got a low here on total market cap versus stable coins, which could see us come back a little bit more yet. So I don't know whether it's going to be quick either. I have a funny feeling it's still going to be choppy and down, unless we get positive or negative news, like major positive or negative news that no one's expecting. I'm not seeing huge swings either way. The Bitcoin chart itself rejected off the 9 EMA there today already. I did take a little long on Bitcoin and Sol this morning. I closed them relatively quickly though. Yeah, there is a wick up here. That's a good sign for bulls. Kind of in no man's land though. I think we will pull back a little bit before we go higher than this. It's just a matter of where's it going to stop. And BBWP is kind of not doing anything. This is pretty shitty, choppy crap, basically. Ethereum still around that volume node. It is a very highly traded area. Ethereum looks more set to bounce than Bitcoin, and that's very interesting. Still got Powell speaking this week. Services PMI, which is predicted to be down, I think. And then, yeah, we've got unemployment rate coming out. The figures haven't been great lately, so the German bond market actually got more bids per issuance than it did last time, so that's a good sign. But in general, I think markets are going to take a while to settle down and actually figure out where they want to go with the tariffs and stuff. So it'll likely be bouncy, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, similar. Nothing really too strange on CME, except this trend line here is probably fairly important, actually. If we hold that trend line today, we could at least see recovery of this vector, and if we're seeing recovery of that, I would expect it to push a bit higher, up into the 98s even. Just based on CME, I just don't know whether that's a big enough target. So at this stage, it's a tough one when you're coming off big news and big volatility around that news. So just looking at what's going on today, Aussie market got smacked, but looks to be rebounding here as well. So it seems like there are some buyers coming through at the lows here. A little concerned about momentum on increasing BBWP though. Global liquidity is coming back as well. NASDAQ, so yeah, wow. It looks good there, but then you go to the hourly and you see that the after hours on that. When was that? Wow, that actually didn't get hit as hard as I thought. What was I looking at? Interesting. That's actually a fairly positive sign that the NASDAQ's just continued to the upside in after hours. This is the one I was looking at. So maybe I'm reading that wrong. That doesn't have an after hours, does it? I'm looking at the wrong time zone. Sorry. This is the one I was thinking of. So, yeah, it's pretty nasty. Generally, quick drops like that, they can be bought up pretty quickly as well. A flash like that can often signal the low. You probably need to see a bit more structure before you go long on it, but that vector candle there is definitely a target. Although we do have some left behind up here as well, so caution is the name of the game at the moment. This looks bearish. It's rejecting all the big moving averages at the moment. Just go to the daily. Yeah, that's that looks like continuation to the downside at this stage. Interesting that it's finally sort of tapped into this box here and has found a bit of support off that. So this could be that sort of flush, sweep the lows and then move to the upside that we've talked about. Just need more confirmation either way. It's not a bad reset on momentum for most of these ETFs. Equal weight. Yeah, it's still, if equal weight, I don't know, was it traded after hours? Yeah, so it made a new low. It does seem to be finding a bit of support, but yeah, that'll be interesting. It's way down here. So it's kind of a flip of the coin at the moment. You know, rejecting the 200 again on S&P 500. Let's go to the hourly here. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Rejection of the hourly 200 as well as the daily. At the moment, that's still downside momentum. So a quick look at the advanced decline line. Yeah, that doesn't look great. Kind of expecting more downside just from what I'm seeing so far. RSP, oops, sorry. RSP will be similar, it'll be down here. US 500, so small caps. Russell's getting a bit of a bid here. Again, could be a swipe at this low. Just, it's a tough one. I think that actually spiked up into here too. For the time being, it's still negative unless proven otherwise. It has, as I said the other day, it's rejected off a level that was a pretty decent level. It was previously the support level through this range here, that Wyckoff distribution. It's basically come up and hit the same thing. Rejected off that. We haven't retested the moving averages though, so still expect at least that at some stage, but we don't have to yet. We could keep moving down. These averages will move down into here, and this will be the bounce point. We stop there. It's a bit of a flip of the coin at the moment. XLI, yeah, same sort of deal across the board. We never really reclaimed a lot of these levels, which is of concern. XLY, XLP in particular, pretty sure that didn't recover anything. Yeah. It's down. For the time being, the signals are still pointing to the downside. Yeah, even though there was a pullback in this earlier in the day, like markets were up, obviously it's bounced back to the upside as well. So I suspect this is going to keep going as well. So XLP versus SPY in terms of if this is going up, the economy is looking bad, and we've pretty much confirmed this trend line test at the moment, which was the bad trend line. It's going to be, it can still be really choppy around here. But for the time being, there's no great signs, excuse me, that we're actually going bull. Yeah, equal weight. Equal weight's actually stayed reasonably high. That's interesting. Don't know whether that's... Yeah, that hasn't got any after hours trade on it, so don't pay too much attention to that one. But yeah, this one, it's going up as well. This is an interesting point for me because we've had that horizontal line. Same thing, this is equal weight XLY versus SPY. This horizontal line could be a decent resistance level. If we break above that, then we're going further down. Markets are going bearish unless some major news breaks and it goes completely reversed. Regional banks, looks like they are probably going to retest this level at least. There is still, most of these still have some support levels below where we're at. So that's why we sort of need to see some structure. Some of them don't. ITB, holy crap, that's not good. Yeah, ITB could still push up a little bit. This could be a fake out of this level. So we could come up and actually break back in here and go up. We could just basically test this level and come down. That would be nasty for the economy as well. So definitely one to watch on ITB and so home construction and home builders. Just get rid of them. So yeah, that's, I dare say that's going to be a break of this low, which won't be good. Yeah. This one did break through, but I suspect that's going to be pulling back as well. Need to see what happens on this one tomorrow, I think. Yeah, no, it ended up down quite hard after hours. Down pretty well on this support level. So again, another key indicator on a support level. So let's do semiconductors. It's actually probably sitting really close to 200. Where's the after hours? Yeah, it's getting close to 200. 200 is a key level. Yeah, you look at that. Big vector candle. Could swipe the low of that. Just below 200. But that would be an interesting level for a decent bounce too. So again, there's levels for bounces, but at the moment, it's still macro bearish. Need a proper trend reversal signal. DJT, yeah. We're looking a little sketchy. I'm assuming the VIX went. Oh, VIX. VIX hasn't traded since then. I'm assuming that'll spike up when it does, but it could come down pretty quick too. Look at the skew. Interesting. The skew actually closed higher. A little bounce there. That won't account for any after hours stuff though, so just bear that in mind. Wasn't a very significant bounce. The VIX one day. Does it do after hours? No. So it actually turned to the downside, which should actually be commensurate with stocks going up right at the end. So that'll be another one to watch tomorrow. See if we're hitting these sort of levels again, we could actually get a double top here on the VIX one day, which would increase the likelihood that the markets go up from this point. DAX, yeah. Interesting. Oh, Jesus. All right. I gotta go. It's a coin flip at the moment. Even gold's pulling back a little bit. So